Jagrata Jaya Masters. One of the deepest teachings of all the spiritual teachings that most people have not a chance of comprehending is doing and not doing. The Gita talks a lot about doing and not doing. I've hardly met a person that has an understanding of that. Truth is, it's very simple, but until you reach that state, it's impossible to see. Let's talk about the high life first, and then talk about why it's not that way. First of all, what do you mean not doing? I mean, the truth of the matter is you know everything about not doing. I mean, everything. Your cells, you have trillions of cells in your body. If one of them goes awry, we have a name for that, don't we? Cancer. Everything has to operate perfectly, doesn't it? For your liver to work, your kidney, your spleen, right? Your whole life, this has gone on. Trillions of living cells communicating, interacting, doing their thing. Are you doing it? Can you make your pancreas secrete? Your hypothalamus do what it's supposed to do? You don't even know where it is. Okay? If it stopped for one moment, you're not here. Any of it. That's not doing. It's not doing. It doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means you're not doing it. It's happening. You once were this big. You know that? You've seen pictures. How did you get that big? How did your liver and spleen and pancreas be the right size as you grew? I mean, I just don't understand. That must have been hard. No, I didn't do a thing. No one would believe you. If a Martian came down here who didn't know anything, you showed him a picture of you when you were little, when you were born, and then they look at you now and they say, how did you do that? How did you stretch the cells out and get it to do that? Wow, right? I don't do anything. How do you not do anything? It can't just do it by itself. What are you, crazy? No, it just does it. It just does it by itself. Okay, fine. It's kind of neat. The point is you didn't do it, did you? How did it do? What kind of grade you give it? Pretty far out, isn't it? Pretty perfect. For trillions of cells. You know, there's only, 6-7 billion people on the planet Earth. You have any idea what trillions of cells are? Some people say tens of trillions of what you have in your body. For them to do this in coordination and synchronization, to grow this thing, why don't you think about it a little bit? And you start to understand non-doership. It doesn't mean nothing happens. It means you understand you're not doing it. It's still happening. That's just your body. Okay? What about everybody else's bodies? All 7 billion of them that are running around here. Wow. What about your mind? Say you know her. You look at her. And your mind says, oh, that's Sally. Okay? How'd that happen? Did you do it? Multiply 15 times 12. Maybe you can do it, maybe you can't. The point is, if you can, how do you do it? How does your mind work? You don't have the slightest idea. Why do things come back up when they're supposed to? You don't have the slightest idea. Do you? It just happens by itself. It's the most amazing thing in the world. I once made him study. Now, he didn't get very far. When you get out of bed, do you know how long it takes robotics to get a robot out of bed? Not to mention to do it smoothly like you do. Do you understand how many signals and how many muscles and how much movement has to take place for you to get out of bed? Try it sometime. Write the program. Build a robot. Right? You do it all the time. That's like a minor little mechanism. This is non-doership. You understand, I am not the doer. I am the experiencer of this miraculous thing that's happening. So we've just talked about a few bodies, minds, right? Well, what about the planet itself? It's a pretty nice place. Did you make it? Trees, all the trees, rain, water, animals, everything. Did you make them? How many of them make? None. How long has it been around? Billions of years. 4.5 billion years. How long have you been around? And you just basically look at it and you realize, wow, this is amazing. What's the matter with me? I'm not doing any of it. If the planet did not spin on its axis at exactly the speed it's spinning at right now, you're all dead. If it moved one little bit toward the sun or one little bit further away, you're dead. Over, goodbye. You want to define God. You want to say, no, I don't even want to talk about it. I just want to check out that you're not doing it. That's all I want to do. Don't go any further. That's where spirituality is. Spirituality is not defining God. All you have to do is be willing to say, I didn't do it. I'm not doing it. I don't even know where it's coming from, any of it. And it made itself, I always give you that number, 13.8 billion years ago. It wasn't here, now it is. All of it, the stars, the supernovas, the galaxies. It's doing it by itself, isn't it? Now, if you want to say, God's doing it, that's doing it by itself. The point is, you're not doing it. It doesn't matter who's doing it, as long as you know it's not you. The highest path to realization and enlightenment is not to contemplate what that is. You'll never get there. It is to realize you're not doing it. That's it. I'm here. I'm not doing it. Are you? You're not making all the cars run. You get into your car, you turn the key, starts. Are you proud of yourself? You didn't do anything. Do you know what it took from the time there wasn't a car and they dug up the steel and they, et cetera, et cetera? You understand that? And how many people did it take for your car and for the motor and what kind of inventions and whose thought patterns and OMG. And you are sitting here paying zero, and I mean zero respect to anything I just talked about during your normal life. Where's Paul? Why didn't he call? Where did Paul come from? Who's making him? How do you understand his language? It has nothing to do with Paul and why he didn't call. It has nothing to do with where your children are. It has nothing to do with anything. You have to start with reality, with truth. The truth is you ain't doing squat. You're the recipient of all of this, aren't you? You're the recipient of the day, of the moon, of the sun, of your body, of your thoughts. So spirituality is very straightforward. It starts with the word thank you. If you want to grow spiritually, then you learn to pay attention to what I just talked to. How do you know how to brush your teeth? Well, really, very few animals know how to brush their teeth. You're very good at it, okay? It's like you say thank you because you're not doing these things. Someday, you're going to get older and you might get a little dementia and you might not know how to brush your teeth. You'll be in there. You don't even know that you knew. It could be like that. It's going to be like that maybe. So you just realize, and that now because it's not happening by itself, go make it happen. Come on, get to work, make your memory work again. No. You are the recipient of these gifts. Have you any idea how many gifts you're getting every single moment of every single second of your life? You are being given the gifts of the universe, that it exists and that you have the ability to see it. I can't even talk about it. That is spirituality. That is the start of spirituality, where you stop this absurdity that you are doing inside your thoughts, which are basically saying, here I am, you should be the way I want. It is not going to be the way you want. It is not supposed to be the way you want. If you are trying to make this that you have nothing to do with, it just, oh my God, what it did is so unbelievable. It's way beyond, you don't understand anything. And it's doing it and giving it to you, and all you want to say is, no, I don't want it that way. I want it to be this way. So it starts with spirituality, where you sit there and you wake up and you look outside and inside, and you realize I'm here observing this, and it has nothing to do with me. I didn't make it. I'm not changing it. I'm not determining it, am I? It's just 99.9999999% of it is just a gift that's happening to me, that I'm observing, that I'm experiencing, that I'm the recipient of. Yes, 0.00001% I get to interact. We'll be there in a second. We're talking about doing and not doing. So far I'm only talking about not doing. But notice that not doing doesn't mean it's not happening. It's happening all over the universe, isn't it? The stars are being born. You're not doing anything. When you have a baby, you are not doing it. Wow, it's the most miraculous thing in the world. And all you do is worry. What if it doesn't come out well? You don't know how to even make any of it. It's just in there growing itself inside of you. It's like an alien or something. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing I ever heard of. A single cell, a single fertilized cell sits in there, and without you doing a single thing, not a single thing, makes a baby. True or not? Have I exaggerated? So you wake up. That's what spirituality is. It means come to reality. So you start to wake up, which we'll see why you can't do that, why you don't do that, how you got lost, and you just stand there and you say thank you. A spiritual being just says thank you all the time. A bird flies. Wow, thank you. Thank you for what? That there's such a thing as a bird. It's a pretty neat thing, right? And that it sings, and that I can hear it. Where did that come from? How do you not say thank you? That there's a flower, that there's anything, that there's water that falls out of the sky. Gift after gift after gift after gift after gift, hundreds of billions of them every single second. You're just here, and all of this is being given to you. So you start, and I'm going to start with the deep spiritual state, where that's how you see things. They have nothing to do with you, do they? They have nothing to do with you. You're just the recipient of this amazing thing called life that is giving and creating and organizing itself, and you get to receive it. When you live that way, it becomes unbelievable. If you sit there and you see a bird, it could blow your mind the first time you actually see a bird. Not, oh, that's not as nice as the last one I saw, or I wish I had a bird like that, or I'm glad I don't live in New York because I'd like to have birds here, or there were more birds in California before I moved to New York. That's about you. That's about not appreciating and respecting this amazing thing that was given to you and is at all times given to you. So you come to the point where you start saying thank you instead of I want and I don't want. And that's going to be the essence of what we're talking about. The difference between living in the state I'm talking about, which is a state of clarity, is a state of mindfulness, is a state of health, is a state of reality, which is I am in here. How do you know? You know you're in there. You in there? Okay. You know you're in there because you are. And then all of this stuff is happening without you doing a single thing. But instead of respecting it, appreciating it, having gratitude for it, what you are doing is developing within your mind, using your mind to develop an alternate reality that you're just making up. I don't want it to be the way it is. It's so funny, I can't even say it anymore. I don't want all of this that ever was and made itself and it's manifesting before me as the greatest gift. I didn't want to be the height I am. I wish I was taller. And my nose, oh, don't even talk about my nose. Why does my nose have to be like that? You want to know? There's this thing called genetics. It started with your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great, probably the dinosaurs, by the way, all right? And then it evolved all the way through, and there's this mutation, and it ended up there, and grandma, grandpa, and this and that, and you ended up with your nose. You should say, oh, thank you, look at your nose. Oh, my gosh, there's so much history. You have any idea what it took to make your nose? How many forces and factors had to come together to make your nose exactly right? All right. So the difference between spirituality, and all this is going to end up with doing and not doing, you're going to see it when I'm done. The difference between spirituality and a normal life, which you don't want to live, I guarantee you, is a spiritual being has come to peace, understanding, this has nothing to do with me. I'm just the consciousness that is experiencing the awesomeness of creation, of the perfection that's unfolding within me and around me. If my thought remembers your name, I say thank you, right? I say, oh, that's an amazing thing that it can remember. Look, I programmed computers for a long time. It is very, very hard to get them to do anything. It takes I did assembly language to start with, right? It's like to get that thing to actually do something is phenomenal. IBM's Big Blue, they try to say it's almost as smart as a person. So every person is as smart as a person, right? And it didn't take any time and billions of dollars, and there's a company with 400 million employees. How do you get so smart? What's going on? It's just a gift. It's just given to you. So you start saying thank you. You start appreciating instead of, this is how I decided I want it to be. I don't want you to talk to him. I don't want him to be as tall as he is. I don't want your nose to be like it is. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want you to wear the same thing to the party that I'm wearing. I don't want my car to break down. I don't want... You're so cute. You're so cute. I have this whole list inside my head of how I want things to be and how I don't want things to be. You got one of those too? Here it is. Do you have any idea how absurd that is? How that flies in the face what we just talked about? That everything is making itself and it's the most awesome thing that could ever be, and you decide to just drop in and make up an alternate reality and get pissed when it's not that way. That is called a normal human being versus a spiritual human being. I haven't mentioned the word God. I didn't talk about religion. I didn't talk about your diet or what clothes you wear or whether you ever swear. I didn't say a word about that. The difference is what I told you. A spiritual being is someone who has woken up to the absurdity, the absolute insanity of using the mind that was given to you that can do all these things. Remember Microsoft, where do you want to go today? That was their thing, right? You go anywhere you want with your mind. You go to Mars. You can go down into the earth. You do anything you want with your mind, can't you? You can't do anything you want with your body. Go, be on a boat right now. There you are. Where do you want to go today? That was Microsoft's thing. Where do you want to go today? All right? That is what life is sitting here saying to you. Here's reality. I gave you a mind. Who gave you? You didn't give you a mind. It's just there. It's free. I don't know. It's silly to talk about. Maybe you bought your computer, but you didn't buy your mind. It just showed up, didn't it? And you get to use it. And instead of saying, thank you, I have this amazing tool for creativity, for contemplation, for analysis. What an amazing thing I have. Plus, it was just one of the things you were given, right? One of the gifts. And then there's all of life. And oh my God, I already said it. I can't even talk about it. Right? All the things that are happening by themselves. And so the mind basically said, here's the proper use of a spiritual being using a mind. I look at reality and I go, wow. And then I look at my mind and say, God, it can analyze, it can figure things out. I wonder why her hair is red. I want to study the genetics. And not because I don't like her hair being red, not because I don't want it to be red. It has nothing to do with that. I have the ability to explore. Why do you want to climb a mountain? For the same reason I want to understand why her hair is red. What's the genetics that makes that happen? There's nothing wrong with that. That's a wonderful use of the mind. There's nothing wrong with saying, oh, look, the sun is a certain distance, and when the earth tilts a certain amount, it gets hot. It gets hot in Florida, okay? I'm going to use my mind to figure out how to do a heat pump, reverse cycle, compression, air conditioning. Oh, my God, it's so neat. You're so brilliant. Oh, I respect it. What a beautiful mind. Yes, you have. It's not that you don't use your mind. It was a gift. You use it. What is being said is all of that is spiritual. It's not true that technology and advancement and invention is not spiritual. It's tremendously spiritual. It's a proper use of the gift that was given to you, mind. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking care of your body. There's nothing wrong with anything. This is what's wrong. When you go to your mind and instead of using it to develop and create, you say, I'm not okay. Why are you not okay? We'll discuss that in a minute. I'm not okay in here, so I've made up how everything and everybody needs to be, including the weather. Better not rain today. I have to go out, all right? I'm going to make up how everything and everyone needs to be for me to be okay. You get to use your mind for great things. It's very powerful. It's an amazing instrument. You do not get to use your mind to make up an alternate reality that has nothing to do with everything I talked about before, all the trillions of cells and about the Earth and the orbits and everything that happens since the Big Bang, nothing. Just make up how you want things in front of you to be. Just ignore reality, ignore physics, ignore everything. You understand that? The one I tell you, I like weather. You always blush when I talk about the weather, right? Just decide it's not supposed to rain today. Why? I'm going out. You really think that's what's supposed to determine the rain, do you? And you're really going to get upset because it's raining when you don't want to go outside. I've never heard anything so funny in my life. You want to know why it rains? Talk to the meteorologist, will you? You know, just study the highs and the lows. It has nothing to do with what you want. And you're going to find out that's true of everything. I started it, and it sounded like fun by saying everything's creating itself. You're not doing anything. I say, wow, I get to be unemployed. It can still all unfold. But then I added this one problem, just this one problem, which said you have a mind and you're free to do what you want, right? Your free will. And what you decided to do with your mind is make up an alternate reality and get really mad when it doesn't happen. That's what your tension is. That's what your anxiety is. That's what your fears are. That's what your hopes are. That's what your dreams are. None of them are spiritual. What is spiritual is honoring and respecting. That's the start of it. Honoring and respecting the awesomeness of where you ended up. It's like, wow. All right? You're given life. You're given flowers, birds, elephants, mosquitoes, every single thing there is. It's just there. You're not doing. But what you did do, your act of doership, was to take your mind and say, I want to create an alternate reality that will make me happy. I want to create an alternate reality that doesn't ever do what I don't want, so I don't ever have to get hurt, so I don't ever have to get sad. And then you just use your brilliant mind, the brilliance of your mind, to create this alternate reality, and then sit in here, and instead of experiencing and appreciating all that we've been talking about, all that's happening, you sit in here judging. That's where judging comes from. You start comparing what is going on outside in front of you with what it is you decided you wanted. And all of a sudden things look wrong, don't they? And things look desirable. What I mean desirable, they're the way I want them to be. And things look undesirable and really freaky. They're not the way I want them to be. I'm telling you that someday you will reach a state, when you get to the state I started talking about, where all you see is appreciation and respect, and you see that mess that the thing created, that you will understand what's meant by the fall from the garden. You will not need anyone to explain it to you. They will not have a theological discussion about it. You will just realize, I'm really fine if I let things be what they are. It's just if I sit here and appreciate and respect the awesomeness that there's a sun in the sky, it's just the right distance for us to enjoy our lives. Like, wow, thank you. And all of that, and you'll just start feeling this joy inside yourself. I'm telling you, a bird flies off the tree and chirps, that's it for you for the day. What do you mean? You're blissed out. I don't even know how to talk to you. Any of you heard of quantum physics? Okay. There's a quantum field down there. Your physicist told you that. They went and looked. But what does that mean? It means there's a field of energy, and out of it emanates these quarks, leptons, and bosons, subatomic particles. That's what the bird is. That's where the bird came from. What do you mean? Out of nothing, pure energy, these random particles popped out, put themselves together into atoms based on fundamental laws, and then put themselves together into molecules, put themselves together, and all of a sudden there's this bird flying off the thing. Are you kidding me? You might want to say thank you. Pretty awesome, isn't it? It will blow your mind constantly. You will not need anything else. You don't need relationships. You don't need travel. You don't need to have experiences. What is happening in front of you is so fulfilling, is so awesome. That's what be here now means. That's what it means to live in the present moment, is to be so blown away by the reality. Why am I not that way? There's only one reason. It's not that the world is not doing what I said. It's doing it all the time, isn't it? Every single second. It's because you in there made a gross mistake very early in the game, way back. You said, Mother, please, I'd rather do it myself. When I was growing up, that was an advertisement, right? I'd rather do it myself. That's what you said. He said, I don't want it to be what it is. I don't want my nose to look like it was. I don't want you to talk to her. I don't want it to rain tomorrow when I have to go camping. I don't want to respect the way it is. I want to make up how I want it to be, and then I want it to be that way. That is the fruit you are not supposed to touch. It is called the tree of self-knowledge, the tree of right and wrong, the tree of good and evil. In the Tao, we call it the tree of duality. In other words, what is the tree of self-knowledge? You decided to do it yourself. Understand that? It doesn't mean enlightenment. I've come to know myself. It's self-knowledge. That's not what they're talking about. It's that you decided, here's this whole universe. That's the Garden of Eden. It's all creating itself. There's nothing for you to do but enjoy every second of every moment that it even exists. Is neat. Would you rather be in outer space where there's nothing? Just absolute black. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, there's nothing going on except absolute black. You want that? Maybe you start appreciating what's going on here. And you get all of this. But instead of that, you decided to do it yourself. You went to your mind. You're going to see this is really what it's saying. You went to your mind and said, I'm going to know what I want instead of what is. And then you do know what you want, don't you? It lets you know really loud. And the moment you tasted that, which is I want it my way. I want what I want, and I don't want what I don't want. And when I get what I want, I get happy. And when I get what I don't want, and when I don't get what I want, and if I don't have to get what I want, right? I told you, it's a truth table. It's a 4-quadrant truth table, right? If you create that want, not want thing, either getting what you want, not getting what you want, getting what you don't want, or not getting what you don't want. There it goes. And it's determining your entire life. And what happened when you fell from the garden, when you tasted that fruit tree? Now you have to work by the sweat of your brow. That's exactly what it says. And you were always okay the other way. You were just experiencing the awesomeness and being blown away by just the reality that's unfolding in front of you. The fact that it's there is awesome. But the moment you decide how you want it to be, which, I'll talk to you about it if you want to, but where did that come from? Why don't you go stand and watch the ocean? Go to Fisherman's Wharf. People say it's really nice at Fisherman's Wharf. It's an awesome experience, the Pacific Ocean out there, right? Stand there, and instead of experiencing the awesomeness of these waves and whales and seals and whatever is going on there, decide before you show up what you want it to look like. When you want the whales to show up, how many you want to have, right? Whether they blow out of their spouts or not, right? And whether you get wet from it. Is that a cool thing? Did you get wet? The whale blew his spout, I got wet. Or is that, it's disgusting. I don't know. You decide. Just decide, right? And decide every single thing that's going on. Decide whether the waves are high or low. And when they happen, go on. And then see how much fun it is to stand there. You will be a neurotic mess. You will walk away from that, the worst experience you ever had. Because it's never going to be the way you want, is it? Nor is it supposed to be. You are supposed to be experiencing the awesomeness of what it is. It has nothing to do with you. All of life is exactly the same. It is just the unfolding of the nature of things that have been here for 13.8 billion years, and you have the honor of experiencing the ones that are unfolding in front of you. And even living in this body of trillions of cells. I don't know what to tell you. You hear me? But instead, you went into the mind and you decided how I want it to be. Just like standing there watching that ocean. Didn't you? Right? Who's supposed to stand close to you in the elevator and who's not? And how many floors is it supposed to stop at? How many people are allowed to push different stores so you have to stop, and the stupid thing doing the elevators, and how fast people in front of you are supposed to drive. Every single thing. You did it, didn't you? Every single thing you've decided what's supposed to happen next. And guess what? It doesn't, does it? So in order to make it, you have to work, don't you? You have to work. You have to figure out how to manipulate people and make them be the way you want, how to get what you want and avoid what you don't want. You know what we do? That's what it means, work by the sweat of your brow. So can you see this? It's so funny when you start realizing the Bible isn't literal. I get in trouble saying that because there are those who say it's literal, right? It's not. It doesn't mean it's not the truth. These things were visions. These things were passed down from deep, deep, deep enlightening understandings, especially Genesis and stuff like that. Do you know where it came from? Who made up the story of Genesis? Where did it come from? It is the first book in the 5 books of Moses. Moses wrote Genesis. Moses wrote Genesis. Well, how in the world did Moses know what happened at the beginning of creation and all this stuff? Well, you know that little story during Exodus? We do it at Passover, right? When he went up to the top of the mountain and they were building the golden calf and they got all mad and threw down the commandments, and he wouldn't go into the camp with them anymore. And he built a tabernacle. He and Aaron built a tent. And every night, all the Hebrews stood in the camp and were scared to death. They said they couldn't lift their eyes up to look because giant cyclones of light came down into that tabernacle. And only Moses and Aaron were able to be there. And the divine force passed all knowledge onto them. And when Moses wrote the 5 books of Moses, as he sat there before he couldn't go to the promised land, that's what he wrote down, is what was passed that way. Wow. That's a pretty neat story, isn't it? But what's really neat is not that story. What's neat is when you go into that light and you tie into that depth because you let go of this stupid thing you're doing with your mind, me and what I want and what I don't want and all this, and you start to appreciate and open. It's called opening to reality. You will touch the places within yourself. And then you'll start to see, oh, this is so beautiful. I'm so clear and I know so much. And I looked down at the part of me that was so stupid. I was sitting there making up what it wanted and honestly believing it was supposed to be that way and then fighting with everybody to try and make it be that way and getting really upset all the time. Right? Okay? And you see the fall from the garden. And you see that you can be in a really high state, and the moment, if for one moment, you listen to what it has to say, it's over. One moment. If everything's beautiful, you're just enjoying everything, right? And the bird flies off the tree, but it doesn't sing exactly like it did last time. And your mind goes, oh, I was so looking forward. It's over. That's the end of your vacation. That's the end of your joy. All it takes. This is what it's called non-duality. So the Taoist teaching, right? How about Zen? The third Zen patriarch, one of the deepest writings ever written, starts this way. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. When love and hate are both absent, it means like and dislike. When love and hate are both absent, everything becomes clear and undisguised. Make the slightest distinction, however, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart. If you wish to know truth, then hold no opinion for or against anything. To set aside what you like from what you dislike is the disease of the mind. That sound like what we're talking about? You can find it in the Kabbalah. You can find it in the Bible. You'll find it in the Tao. You'll find it in the Gita. Why? It's the truth. What we're talking about now is the essence of spirituality. And I don't have to use the word God. It has to do with understanding what's going on. What's going on is awesome. What's going on is unbelievable. It's unbelievable that a baby falls out of a womb and then it eats carrots and asparagus and grows into livers and kidneys and does it all by itself without you doing a single thing. And it goes from 1 foot to 6 foot size, all by itself. That's enough. If you see nothing else in your entire life, it should blow your mind to where you'll just go, oh. All right? But what you're going to see if you reach that state, it's beautiful. When you stop judging, it's beautiful. It's awesome. It touches you. Oh my God. Creation is awesome, isn't it? The fact that it exists and how it made itself. But if you sit there and decide how you want it to be, that's all. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. Doesn't mean I have preferences, I'm going to renounce them. That's the biggest mistake you could ever make. I'm going to repeat that. So many people come to me who read that and said, but I don't know how to not have preferences. That's a total misunderstanding of what's going on. It is not that you have preferences and then renounce them or don't do them. Let's go deeper. What it means is because I see clearly what's going on, I am so in awe of it that I wouldn't even know how to change it. When I'm standing there watching the Pacific Ocean, I don't have preferences. I'm sorry. I'm not that person who made up what it's going to look like. I'm just in awe that there's this ocean and there's these waves and sprays and whales, and it doesn't matter what it does. I wouldn't even know what it's supposed to do. I have no preference. Do you follow me? That doesn't mean I'm not enjoying it. It's because you have no preference that you are enjoying it. What be here now means, what clarity means, what returning to the garden means is I am here by the grace of who knows what. I don't know where I came from. I'm talking about your consciousness. And it is experiencing this awesome, unbelievable creation that is unfolding in front of me at all times. And if I'm standing out there and watching the Pacific Ocean, I am blown away. I don't have to worry about having preferences. I wouldn't even know how to have one. Now do that with the person you're in a relationship with. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. You're just, oh my God, look at you. Trillions of cells operate. Of course, if I look at it that way, I don't want to kiss you or anything, but basically, teasing. Who wants to kiss trillions of cells? How to add humor to this thing. So you sit there and you look at somebody and you realize they're an unbelievable thing that they even exist. And they're standing in front of you, the pinnacle of creation, all of evolution, and this is what came up. Oh my God. It's not that you want it to be a certain way. It's not, I wish you were taller, or oh my God, why are you getting older? There's nothing. It's exactly like you're looking at the ocean. You have no concepts or views or preferences or opinions or hopes or dreams. Doesn't that sound cold? No, it's the warmest thing that could ever be. You're in the presence of awesomeness, and it's touching you as it is. So I swear to you, I know you understand watching that ocean. You're not going to have fun if you have notions, do you? Okay? Just go there and take it in. Feel it. That's how you should be with the people you're in a relationship with, especially your close ones. Just like, wow, I can't get to know everybody, but I get to know you. It's not like I can't know everybody. Here's a human. I can't know everybody, so I chose you. I get to know you. Now please do this way and do that way, and don't ever do that again. I told you it embarrasses me. It's so funny. You don't want to get to know me. You want me to be you. You made up me. You made up me, and now you're trying to make me match. Right? That's no fun for you or for the other person. That's not a relationship. That's absurdity. So it's just, I'm telling you, everything. Non-doership is everything's the same as standing on Fisherman's Wharf watching the ocean. You're just there. And it's awesome. And it blows you away. It's beyond any vacation. That's what it's like to be in a relationship with another human being. All the time, every second, with no exceptions. It's just amazing to get to see you. To see what you did next, just like the wave flowed next. To see what you have to say. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no good, there's no bad, there's no better, there's no worse. It's just like, wow, look at you now. Just like the ocean. How do you like that? All right? That'd be a nice relationship, wouldn't it? How'd you like to be in a relationship with somebody who felt that way about you? Right? So it's beyond acceptance. It's openness. It's non-judgment. All right? So basically you start to see the problem is not life. The problem is not what the ocean is doing. The problem is what you're doing about the ocean. So it is this mind, and it's not the mind. The mind is beautiful. It's what you're doing with the mind. You are using this powerful, powerful tool to make up how you want it to be. So now let's talk about doership. All the time I've talked about this whole time, it's all happening by itself. It's a free ride. Sun's going to wake up in the morning, it's going to go down at night. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pedal. Your body's going to grow from a foot to 5.5, 6 feet. You don't have to do anything. Okay? And guess what? Then when you get old, you'll get lines and varicose veins. You don't have to do a thing. You don't have to do anything. Your hair will fall out. You don't have to do anything. It's just amazing. It happens all by itself. Okay? So to the extent that you are experiencing this exactly the same as you're watching the Pacific Ocean. I'm glad I gave you that example because you know you can do that, right? That blows you away. You just experience it. When you experience life, it feeds you, it touches you, it awakens you, it enlivens you. You're just in awe of its experience, all right? What you do to ruin that is you use your mind to make up how you want it to be, All right? And the minute you do that, so I said, the second, the third Zen patriarch was saying, the moment, the instant you set what you like against what you dislike, heaven and earth are set infinitely apart. Isn't that beautiful? The minute you do that, it's over, isn't it? Now you have to fight. Now you have to fight. Because it's not going to be the way you want by itself. It's going to be the way it is by itself. So non-doership is the awesomeness of experiencing how it unfolds by itself, and you're in here and you're experiencing it. Doership is, I have decided how I want it to be. Now I need to go out there and get really, really busy trying to manipulate reality to match what I want. That's doership. Okay, now we're going to talk about, there's this deep state that's beyond both of them. So I said very few people understand neither doing nor not doing. Neither doing nor not doing doesn't mean nothing happens. All right? So this thing about you deciding how you want it to be and then fighting, can you relate to that? How you want a person to be, so the relationship the way you want, how you want the job to be so you can be excited about it, so how you want the weather to be so you can enjoy what's happening. Every single thing we have done in our mind is a gross mistake. We have just decided. Now, I want to ask an honest question of you. Don't blush. How's this working out? This thing of making up how it's supposed to be and then trying to make it be that way. Huh? There's anybody I could have ever asked that question with, it was just going to go, whew, it's tough. I will bet it's tough. Do you have any idea the forces that are behind the way things are? Why don't you just, instead of not enjoying the way the ocean is, try to make it be the way you want? Go on, I want to watch this. It's going to be a good reality TV. Go make the waves be what you want, make the whales be where you want them to be, make everything be exactly the way you decided it should be when you thought about it, when you go out there. There's not a chance in the world you're getting anywhere, is there? I'm telling you it is exactly the same out here. The probability of you getting it the way you made up, instead of it being the way it is zero. Why would it be the way you want? I just can't even think about it, right? It's busy being the way it is. And the way it is the result of everything that ever was. It has everything behind it. When you decide it should be different than it is, how are you going down in that quantum field and playing around with those quarks and leptons? Or maybe what you want has nothing to do with the quarks and leptons. Right. Considering the physicists said everything in creation is the quantum field expressing itself. So how exactly are you going about doing this? And the answer is you're not. You're just creating complete commotion and disaster and disorder because you are out of harmony with reality. I don't want to keep we're talking about it. Must be somebody's drawing it. But do you see why I said the tree of life, the fall from the garden? Do you see it? Right? It's not my philosophy. It is how you fall from the garden. You do it every day. All right? What about Adam in the garden? I'm not a Bible reader. I read it once in my life 45 years ago, right? But as I grow, I see it, right? What about Adam? I just said, how's this working out, deciding how you want it to be and going and fighting with everything? Separating yourself from reality is what you've done. You stepped aside from reality and said, I am separate from reality, and therefore reality should be the way I want. You do it every day, don't you? The driver in front of you, the weather, everything. I am the center of the universe, and I've stepped out of harmony, completely out of tune with all of creation around me. That's what Adam did. When God, creation, went to visit Adam, that's how the story goes, Adam, where are you? You know what he said? I'm hiding. Wow, that's so beautiful. It's what you're doing, isn't it? I don't want it to be the way it is. I'm hiding in my mind. I'm hiding in me. And then my favorite one is, he says, oh, there you are. What in the world is that around your waist? It's a fig leaf. But I put fig leaves on fig trees. What's it doing around your waist? The most powerful word. I mean, he said, what did he say? I was naked. What is that? You know how deep that is? How come the dog doesn't say it's naked? How come the bird doesn't say it's naked? How come the monkey doesn't say it's naked? What are you talking about? You're naked. You're the way I made you. You're the way the body got made. The way the trillions. So what do you mean you're naked? I have stepped aside from creation, from reality. I see myself as something completely separate, and I want to cover myself. Don't I? I want to cover myself. And don't you want to hide in there? Don't you want, protect yourself and do all that kind of stuff? Right? That's what it's representing. I want to cover myself because I'm separate. So that whole story is so Zen. It's unbelievable. So Taoist, right? It is about the birth of duality. It's about the birth of ego. Freud should love it. I have stepped aside and created an illusion of myself separate from the rest, and now I'm going to go out there and fight day and night by the sweat of my brow to try and make things be the way I want. All right. So now you understand non-doership. Now you understand doership. We're busy doing, aren't we? How busy? We're tired. People tell me, I'm so tired. I'm so... What are you doing? 99.9999% is all happening by itself. Making your heart beat? Why don't you just spend a minute and think about what it would be like if you had to really do something? Right? What if your heart stopped beating? What if your breath stopped going in and out? All right. What, are you take it for granted? Something as important as that? That's ridiculous. I want you from now on to make sure your heart beats. And breathe. You can't go to work. Why? I'm busy. It's unbelievable. It's all happening by itself, but you became a doer, but not about most of it, not about 99.99% of it. You're not doing that. You're just doing the part that you made up. The only part you care about, isn't it? I made up how it's supposed to be, and now I'm going to go out there and fight with it. All right. That's non-doership. That's doership. What is the state of Tao, the state of being, the state of neither doing nor not doing? Okay? Because it's not about not doing. It's not about, I'm here, the universe is unfolding, and I stay completely separate from it. I neither make up an alternate and then fight with it, nor do I deny my oneness with it. This is very deep. I told you, it's the deepest conversation you can ever have. The entire Bhagavad Gita is really about doing and not doing. And very few people ever get it. Is basically, it means I am not separate from the universe. I made up a separation. I made up that I'm separate. I am part of the universe, right? The cells are the same as the air that's coming in and out. You can't even tell the difference. If you had an electron microscope, you could not find out where your body stops or starts. Cells are dying. They're being born. New ones are coming in. The air's coming in and out. You can't tell which is your body and which is not, all right? It's a system. Everything's a system. The whole universe is that. So is your mind. So is your heart. And when you stop separating yourself with this mental concept of what I want and what I don't want, and you come into the harmony, but you start by respecting and honoring. That's how it starts. You respect and honor the realities unfolding around you. That has freed you from deciding how it's supposed to be. I don't get to decide what the bird is going to do. I'm sorry. But last time it landed on my arm, the butterfly did. I want to happen again because I brought you with me and I wanted to show. What are you, crazy? You're going to ruin your life. Be grateful the butterfly landed on your arm, and that's the end of it. There's nothing to do about it, is there? Doesn't mean it didn't happen. So non-doing is you honor and respect what's going on. Doing is you decide how you want it to be, and you feel like you have to do it. The state of neither doing nor not doing, right, is to sit there and say, it is unfolding, but it's unfolding in front of me. I'm part of this moment. I'm part of this moment. And what you will see, I don't know how to explain this to you, when you come in harmony with it, it is always asking something of you. Always. It's not about you asking something of it. That's what you're doing now. You understand that? Every moment and every person unfolds in front of you. What do you want? What do you not want? Okay? And even the weather. No longer is that going on inside of you. There's just this clarity of oneness, of openness, of awe, of appreciation. And then you're going to find out that the moment that's unfolding touches you very deeply. And that as it touches you, there's this expression that comes back. Just like the wave comes up and it falls back in. It's the natural forces, all right? So that the ocean, when you're watching it, it's doing its thing. It's not that you're not a participant. It comes in, it touches you, and you feel love and joy. That is a gift to the ocean. That is a gift to the universe, that you exuded this beauty and this love and this appreciation. They're saying that. They found that plants grow better when they're loved. I'm telling you, everything in creation gives to everything else. but not if you decide you want it to be different than everything the way it is. And so when you come, this is the Tao. This is what Lao Tzu meant by the Tao. You're not in there doing anything, but you're in there. You're in there experiencing, and the act of experience will cause expression. So the expression is in perfect harmony with what is unfolding. Everything's in harmony. So you're neither doing nor not doing. You're being. That's what they mean by that. You're just there, experiencing and expressing in harmony with the experience. It is the most awesome. It's called the zone. In sports, they call it the zone, where you just, there's no one thinking, there's no one doing, all of a sudden it's just me, club, golf, ball, right? They go into that place. You can move into that place called the zone. You have it during intimacy, I hope. Right? Because we can be as neurotic about it as anything else. But there are moments where, because the love is so strong, because you're so open to the experience, that you are neither doing nor not doing. You understand that? There's just this overwhelming oneness of energy that is unfolding. Sports can do it, and it doesn't have to be, human intimacy or something like that, right? You can be there with your cat. You can be there with a horse, and literally feel this oneness. Feel this moment. People say, we had this moment together. And you know just what they mean. You can have it with the sunset, can't you? Where it just takes you away from yourself, and you're just there with it, complete and whole, and so on, right? Maybe you play a flute. Maybe you're just in awe. I guarantee you, if that sun is setting and you're gone, all of creation feels that. Just like you felt all of creation. You're just like when that bird sang, it blew you away. When you sing, and it doesn't have to be noise, when that shukti comes up and that appreciation, that awe flows, it feeds everything. It feeds the sun back. Just like a human, when you're there in that moment with another human being, it's a very fulfilling experience, isn't it? When you're out of the way. You are neither doing nor not doing. You are being. You are present in the moment. You are participating in the moment. You're not renouncing. As I always tell you, it's not about renunciation. It's about oneness. So all of it cruxes down to, are you really going to continue going to your mind and trying to figure out how you want things to be and how you don't want them to be, and then try to figure out how to make them be that way, and then go to war? Are you tired of that yet? You don't have to do that. You're doing that thinking that you will be happier if you get what you want. Having a way you want it to be will make you miserable. You think you'll feel safer if you don't have to have what you don't want. Having a way you don't want something will make you scared all the time that it will be that way. The real state is when you catch on and say, why am I creating an alternate reality when the one I'm experiencing is awesome? Period. Of course it's not the way you want. That's what you think awesome is when it's the way I want. No, awesome is that you are experiencing this amazing unfolding of creation that's been going on for 13.8 billion years, and it's happening in front of you. That's your starting place. Oh, that's why they teach acceptance and surrender as the deepest spiritual state. You start by honoring it, but it doesn't mean you don't interact with it. Do you know that a really, really high spiritual being, you wouldn't know one if you saw one? That's what's so neat. Right? So in the ancient scriptures, there's a statement that says, he will not know himself. When you're gone, and there's just this oneness there, right? The only thing that's happening is there's no commotion. The behavior, the action, you may go to work, you may have children, you may be rich or poor. It has nothing to do with any of that, right? There's just this harmony of being that's taking place. There's a state of absolute well-being and peace. So it's not renouncing, it's not doing, it's not doing. It's, are you willing to understand that the nature of creation is not that you're supposed to be getting what you want. It is not. That's why it hasn't been happening. And it's not that nothing's supposed to happen that bothers you. That's not the nature of creation. The nature of creation is you are to be in awe that it even exists. And what will happen is when you let go enough, and you stop with this wanting and not wanting and trying to make things be the way you want, you will participate in the way they are, and you will see that every moment that passes before you is better off because it did. That's what I teach. People say, well, what's the meaning of life? That every moment that unfolds in front of you is better off because it did. That's the highest life you can live. If a person walks by you, they're better off because they walked by you than if they didn't. If the rain fell on you because you appreciated it, every single thing, if somebody's sick and they cross your path, the fact that you're there and can help and serve, every moment can be better. I'm telling you, every moment can be better off because it passed in front of you, but not now. Now if it passes in front of you, you grab it. It's like you look at it from is it going to serve what I want or be what I don't want, right or wrong? And it creates commotion inside. If you let go of all this, this is the beauty, you will become empty. That's the Zen state of void, of empty. And you will find that you in there that's experiencing all this, when you're no longer struggling, will get lifted up. It's a natural ascent. It's not meditation. It's not Kundalini yoga. It's just this natural upward liberation that takes place because you're not busy binding yourself to the struggle that you create for yourself. And I'm telling you, all the Shakti, all this spirit, you'll know what's meant by that. You'll feel it welling up inside of you, not once an hour or something like that, once a day, every single second of every moment of your life, just pouring gushes of Shakti, of energy, and it will pull you up into it. And now you will understand God. That's when you get I always say to you, don't use the word God till you mean that. Right? You'll feel the presence inside of you. It's not something you believe in. When you experience God, when you experience that spirit, Shakti flowing inside of you, you know God. That's the presence of God. And it will pull you up into it. So, doing, not doing, neither doing nor not doing. See it? It's very, very beautiful. It's the essence of spirituality. But you have to decide, do you want to continue wasting your life by deciding what it is that needs to happen for you to be okay and what it is that better not happen to you won't be okay, and then going up every single day fighting with everything to try and make it be the way you want? Or do you want to train yourself to learn how to honor, respect, and appreciate the constant gifts that are being given to you? A great being never asks for anything. They're too busy saying thank you. Jagrata.